Florida. That's where I live.
What part?
Down in like Daytona area.
Okay. I was just in Palm Beach. I went skydiving out there last week.
Nice. So I moved from Daytona to the west coast of Florida. So like Daytona to right above Claremont, Tampa, about an hour north of Tampa.
Nice.
Welcome to Rock and Recovery. I'm your host, Jay. Today's special guest, former addict, recovering addict. Friggin' the speaker. I want to welcome Joe Rivera. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. It looks like the weather's kind of cold where you're at.
Ah, man, the weather's definitely cold. I'm in New York, man, so it definitely gets cold up here around this time of year. But we got the holidays coming up. I don't know when you're going to be releasing this, but the holidays are coming, so that's always a great time in New York. I mean, even though the weather's cold, it's gorgeous out here as far as like the environment, the atmosphere that goes on, and the city. I mean, is just buzzing this time of year.
You know what's funny is I'm in the state that all the New Yorkers flee to during the winter.
Say that again.
I said I'm in the state that all the New Yorkers flee to during the winter.
Yeah,
Down here
yeah.
in Florida, right
Florida's
south now.
definitely a lot of the snow. We snowboard up there. I just got back from out there. I was there last week, went skydiving, and but I had to make it back to be around family for the holidays and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I just want to let you know that thank you for being on the show. And I'm here to spread the message of hope. And that for me is hold on, pain ends. And I've got you up here. I want you to tell your story and just whatever you're comfortable with sharing. And we'll just go from there.
Absolutely, man. So I went from Park Avenue to Park Bench. I was emotionally, financially, and spiritually bankrupt. I lost everything. I even almost lost my life to substance abuse. I was 25 years old, making 7 figures a year. I should feel like I'm on top of the world at this point. But 7 figures a year? Nah, that ain't good enough. Because I live in a world with a belief system of never enough. I want more. I want 8 figures and 9 figures. I'm chasing that fast life. And at this point in my life, being spiritually bankrupt, money's the only higher power that I know. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make more money. I'm putting in late nights at the office one evening, and this dude, we call him Johnny Connect. We call him that because he had the connections to get his hands on anything you can imagine. Keep in mind, we're in New York, so this dude swears that he's part of the mafia. He sits down at my desk and he says, "Hey, Joe, you think you're a top producer now? Take this little round pill and forget about it. You're going to produce even more." Wall Street is also known as Drug Street, and everybody's doing some kind of drug. I'm already smoking weed, drinking, or having some kind of mind-altering substance in my body every single day for the past 15 years at this point. So I said, fuck it, why not? And that's when I got introduced to opiates. And that's when my battle with substance abuse took off to the next level. My life goes dark and becomes completely unmanageable. I'm risking my life every single day. I overdosed twice.
Wow.
The last time, it took 6 cans of Narcan to bring me back to life. 6 fucking cans of Narcan. That same night, I'm laying in the hospital bed. I wake up. I pull the EKG electrodes off my body, leave the hospital against medical advice. And then when I get outside, it's the middle of winter. I'm in a hospital gown, shivering, looking like a crackhead like Pookie from New Jack City because of all the opiates that were being taken out of my system. And the first thing that I do, I go call the dealer again to go get high. a week or two later, my sister invited me for an event, and I had zero intention on going to some motivational event to hear some rah-rah bullshit. It was the last thing on my mind. But something inside of me pulled me to go. And at that event, I don't remember exactly what it was, but something cracked open. I looked at my sister, she looked at me, and we both started crying. I mean, she knew exactly what I was going to say. And then the words came out. The words my family was waiting to hear for over a decade. I said, I don't want to do this anymore, sis. I'm a shell of my true self. I'm tired of writing my obituary. I want to begin creating my legacy. And after that, I made the most important decision of my life to go get sober, bro. You know, my story is not unique. Many people struggle with vices. You know, mine was drugs and alcohol. Someone else could be gambling, sex, shopping, overeating, whatever that vice is. It interferes with us being our true self by having us isolate, not being fully present. It creates character defects. For some, life may become unmanageable. They may lack direction. Some people lose motivation in their self-esteem. I promise you though, man, you don't got to live like that, y'all. There's a better way to live life. And I'm living proof. But it's not an overnight success. I mean, it took me nearly a decade to regain control over the steering wheel of my life. Over the years, I had a lot of coaches, did a lot of self-help programs. Some have worked, some didn't work. However, I was able to build together some powerful details that helped me build a foundation to create my own destiny. You know, I used to live an unmanageable life, man, where I lacked direction, didn't finish things that I started. I couldn't get out of my own way. But today, I live an incredible life where I know the direction I'm going. I know what my goals are. And when I start something, I finish it. And today I'm able to shatter those goals because I built a reliable, repeatable, and transformational system that helped me create wealth financially, emotionally, and spiritually, man.
How big was that change for you? That so you're on top of the world, basically living the dream lifestyle for some people, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the addiction of more. You know, as an addict, as an alcoholic, it's always more. Let me get more. Let me get more. And so I think maybe success was also can be an addiction.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Success was a huge addiction for me. And you know what? Like it still is, but I've learned to turn it upside down on its head and use it towards my advantage now, where success isn't my driving force. It's not my driving value. You know, I've learned to reset my value system along this way, where now success, while it's still important to me, right? But spiritual alignment comes first in my life. Because without that, I can't have success on my own terms. I've learned to create success on my terms now, not on life's terms, on my terms.
What does that look like for the newcomer coming in, the person that's, you know, thinking about it, the person that you were before, you overdosed a couple times, flatlined a few times, and still that wasn't enough. What was that transformational change, that aha moment for you?
So, man, I learned that putting the drugs down, it was the easy part, bro. I had to start learning to work on myself, right? But first things first, I had to learn to be able to drop my ego and ask for help. Because, man, I remember walking into that rehab, staring at the ceilings, feeling like the walls were closing in on me. I didn't want to ask anybody for help. I didn't want to share my story, my failure, my shame. Because asking for help, it felt like another loss, another hit to my ego. But the truth, My ego was the very thing keeping me in that vicious cycle. So I took the first healthy risk of my life and I raised my hand. I walked into those rooms where men called each other out on their bullshit and wouldn't let me hide behind a perfect story. I listened to the dude who had 30 days sober. I listened to the guy who was in and out of rehab 10 years in a row. And I listened to every single story in between. And I borrowed their hope until I could find my own. And Jay, that's when it hit me. My network, it wasn't just support, it was survival. Fast forward, I get out of rehab, I start rebuilding my life, and I started chasing success again. I built my business back up, started stacking wins, and guess what happens? That old voice of the ego came creeping back up. We all got a voice of the ego. Mine was talking about, you got this, homie. You don't need nobody. You done built multi-million-dollar business after multi-million-dollar business. You don't need somebody to tell you how to be successful. But I knew
You can handle this. You can manage this.
Yeah. But I knew better this time. So I took another healthy risk, stepping into rooms with a bunch of people making 10 times more than I was. Rooms where I wasn't the alpha. Rooms where I had to drop the ego and admit, I don't know everything. I'm here to learn. I didn't just show up for the business strategies. I showed up for the mindset, for the energy, for the stories. I started asking questions that made me sweat. I started having conversations that punch holes in my comfort zone. And that's when it hit me. My network is my net worth, not just in dollars, but in direction, in discipline, in destiny. I realized that taking those healthy risks, asking for help, getting uncomfortable, stepping into the unknown, that's what builds real wealth. Wealth of spirit, wealth of mind, wealth of impact. So for your audience, if you're sitting here thinking you could outwork this world alone, outwork your addiction alone, you're already losing, because your next level, it's locked behind a door called community. And the key, that's your willingness to be seen. I'm talking fully seen. I took that healthy risk and it turned my pain into power, my story into service, and my network into a launch pad that I never even knew I needed. That's how I went from crawling alone to commanding rooms. That's how I built my true comeback. Something happens when you let your guard down and you allow real support in. You strip away all the noise, all the distractions, and the masks, they come off. And what's left? It's that raw, unfiltered reason you're here in the first place. It's your why.
How hard was it? How hard was it to actually let down your guard and be vulnerable? I know, because a lot of, any guy that's grown up any time in the, before 2020 is always told, suck it up, you got this, man up, you can do it, you don't
So,
how
man,
big is
I
that
mean,
attitude adjustment?
vulnerability was tough in the beginning because of what you're talking about, because of, being raised in a Latin heritage too. The man's the man of the house, and that machismo comes oozing out. Even though I was raised, my mom and a bunch of women around me, it still was in me because, hanging out with the fellas, it was like, it wasn't okay to cry. It's not okay to show your feelings. You know what I mean? It's suck it up, take that in and accept it. You're not allowed to talk about how you feel. So coming into a rehab and having to be open and vulnerable, that was the last thing I was thinking about. You know what I mean? I didn't want to share anything about my story. I was like, all right, I'm just here to get sober and that's it. But I learned the power of vulnerability, because vulnerability is not a weakness. On the contrary, what it is it's a superpower. But it took work, Because, like I said, I learned that putting the drugs down was the easy part. I had to peel back the onion and take stock of who I was. I had to learn to be able to look into the mirror and apologize to myself for the damage that I caused, or the self-destruction, or the pain, the agony. I had to learn to be able to forgive myself. I had to learn to be able to change my mindset. I had to change my identity. And that's when I realized that I'm not a victim of my circumstances and conditions. They don't control my destiny. I do, because I'm a spiritual being living a human experience, and I can do anything I put my mind to. And once I started being able to be a little more open, a little more vulnerable, a little more courageous, things just started to open up. And I started to realize that, man, I actually can change. I actually can change, and I can help other people out there who need to make change also. And I'll never forget, because after getting sober and coming home, I was able to build another multi-million-dollar business in the financial industry. And even though I was crushing it and living this incredible life, something was still missing. And God kept nudging at me and pulling at me, telling me that my journey is not complete and that I had more to accomplish in life. And for years after getting sober, I kept asking God, man, how do I give this back to you? I can't give it back to you in a physical form. You don't exist physically. There's not enough thank yous in the world to express the amount of gratitude that I have for you saving my life. Not just the 2 times that I overdosed. What about all those times that I drove home and don't remember how I got home? Or those times where I was in a hotel room where I should have ended up dead, but I walked out alive. Those aren't coincidences. Those are God incidences. And through this journey of personal development and sobriety, I learned the big difference, and probably the biggest key for me to get sober and stay sober. I learned the big difference between religion and spirituality. And I learned to build a relationship with my higher source, whether you call it God, the universe, the infinite intelligence, whatever you believe. And I realized that building a relationship and understanding that there's something greater than myself to help me unlock my fullest potential is vital for success. But I also learned that spirituality is about being able to sit with myself and connect with my thoughts and connect with God when he connects with me through different avenues of life or through that still voice. And as I kept asking the question of how do I give this back, that still voice got stronger and deeper. And God kept telling me, you know that story that you got inside you? The one that I saved your life for? That story don't belong to you. I didn't give you that story for you to hold it inside. I gave it to you so you go out there and create impact with it. You hold that story inside, you're just being selfish. I didn't create you to be selfish. And Jay, that shit hit me like a ton of bricks, bro. And that's when I said, enough's enough. I'm not going to argue with the man upstairs because I'm not going to win that battle.
Yeah, absolutely not. And, I do, that's why I do what I do. Also, it's because we're all here for a purpose, and our purpose we may never understand our purpose. We may never realize our full potential, but somebody does. Somebody does.
Yeah, man.
And another thing I've learned how to do is live in the present. I'm not looking at the future. I'm not looking at the past. I live in the present. I stay grounded in the present. Is that a big issue for you too? Is just living today for the greatness of today is?
So that I feel like that's such a loaded question, though, right? Because I agree with you. It's important to stay present, and to focus on today, and not focus on your past. Because man, your past don't define you. It doesn't make you who you are. Your past you could utilize or use in the future, but it doesn't make you who you are. So I definitely am, and I keep my gratitude in staying in the present. But
Right.
I'm also a big believer on visualizing and manifesting the future. I take so that's why what I meant when I said it's kind of loaded, because I'm very focused, driven on what I'm doing today, but I'm also very focused, driven on what my goals are for my future and what my future is going to look like.
Yeah,
And I'm
I absolutely agree with you because that doesn't say we set ourselves up for today for the best possible tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. So yeah, but staying present is vital for your success because it's about being able to, number one, it helps you with focus, and it helps you really be grateful for what you have in the moment and not get caught up on things that you don't have up until now.
Right. Uh,
And
early on in your sobriety journey, in your recovery, did you you know I want to say do the whole comparison? Look at this person; he's so much further than me. He's so much better off. Or did you do any of that in your recovery?
I mean, I think that comparison definitely played a role at one point. And it could, I just want to be clear to everybody out there also how comparing yourself to others could fucking destroy you in so many ways. So many ways. So there's a big difference in wanting what someone else has so that you could better your life. And that's a way to grow. But when you start focusing on it and allowing it to bring you down, that's where it starts the destruction. Because I do know that, man, this guy's got 30 years sober. How could I ever fucking get to that point? This guy's fucking, this guy keeps fucking up his life, man. Imagine what that could be me too. So things like that, comparing yourself in ways of wishing that you have what someone else has, or comparing yourself being better than someone else will destroy you. But when you look at someone and you say, man, this guy's got 10 years sober, there's something about him that I want to learn from him. I want to learn and grow from that person. That's a different kind of comparison, right?
I agree 100%.
So it's really being conscious and aware of where your comparisons lie and how you're utilizing them to compare yourself to other people.
What was one of the biggest things that you did in early recovery to keep you sober?
Uh, I hit a meeting every day. I'm part of a 12-step fellowship. And for me, I mean, the most important piece to my puzzle was being spiritually connected and grounded, without a doubt. And that's still till today is what keeps me sober the most and giving it back.
And what does giving back look like to you? I mean, I know what I do is could be considered giving back, but are you active in your community or do you go to your church and give back? What do you do to give back?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and it's so important. I mean, giving back could be in so many different aspects, right? I mean, so because like I was sharing with you when God told me this is my story, God also said to me, go be of service in whatever way it is, whether it's holding a door open, saying God bless you, giving a donation, getting somebody to a meeting, helping someone get through step work, helping someone transform their life. Going to a church and making sure that you're giving back to your community in some way, shape, or form. I'm in the process of creating a fund which is called the Break the Chain Fund, and it's going to be a fund for people, individuals, and families who suffer with the chain of addiction in their family bloodline. And so there's so many different ways that someone can give back to a community, to their church, you can be donating your time, being of service with your time, going to a children's hospital and donating your time there, going to a food pantry, donating your time there, going to a soup kitchen, donating your time there. So whatever way you could find to give back is vital, because let me tell you something, there's no drug, no alcohol will ever give me that euphoric feeling that I get when I'm able to empower someone to transform their life in some way, shape, or form. And there's so many different ways of being able to give back and be able to help others. And just finding that way of being of service that suits you is so important for your soul, for your recovery, and for your life.
So, did you ever in your recovery journey get triggered and almost relapse?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said that no, that I'm perfect. I think that triggers and temptations come up every day of our life.
How'd you
You know,
manage that?
this thing of recovery, it ain't a straight line to fucking success. There's
No.
bumps in the road. You got to be able to maneuver through those bumps in the road, and that's where the growth is. That's where the magic is. So the way I lean in to those challenging times of maybe a trigger or temptation. Number one, prayer and my relationship with God is what gets me through anything, right? Um, but also having people that I could talk to, having people that could lift my spirit, and making that's a big piece, right? Is surrounding yourself with people who will elevate you. People you want to be around other people who are also not doing drugs and alcohol. Because if you surround yourself with a bunch of fucking idiots who are bringing their life down, guess what? Your life's going to be brought down also. If you surround yourself with people who elevate you, then your life gets elevated. We are who we surround ourselves with. So the people I surround myself with aren't people who are drinking and drugging anymore.
Right.
I don't put myself in those situations. I mean, listen, is there times where I'm out and other people are drinking or something? Yeah, but I also have my I'm also protected because of the relationship today that I have with God, that I could put myself in a situation where I could get out of it if I'm there. I don't have to stay there. I don't get triggered to a point where I'm like, shit, you know what? A bunch of people are drinking by the bar. Now let me drink by the bar. I mean, listen, man, to keep it completely transparent, there's days where I'll sit down by the bar and I'll sit down, I'll have a meal, I'll have a bottle of water, and I could communicate with people around me because I'm comfortable in my own skin today. I'm comfortable in the man that I am today. But it takes time to get there. It's not. I'm not telling somebody come out of fucking rehab and go sit by the bar by
And you go
yourself.
sit by the bar, go
You know
back
what
to
I
the
mean?
trap
No,
house,
it
and
don't
you're
work like
okay.
that. Yeah. You got to go and build your armor around you. Build your recovery, build your confidence in your recovery, and then you'll be able to live normal. You don't have to live abnormal. It doesn't mean because you're out there in recovery that your life has to drastically change where you can't do things that you wanted to do that you want to do, right? Like I enjoy going and sitting down by myself and having dinner. I do it once a week for self-care, and I connect with God that way. I look at it as, man, I'm having a meal with God and I'm connecting. And I could do it sitting at a bar. I could do it sitting at the table with myself. But I enjoy being around other people. So sometimes I'll sit down and just eat and have a couple of glasses of water, and then I'm out. I'm leaving. Everybody else can stay and party and do what they got to do. I'm leaving. I don't have to be around that environment. I know when it's time to go.
So, in the biggest phase of your active addiction, what was going through your head, at the time? Or can you even recall what was going through your head at the time to make you want to keep using?
Fear is one. So I remember I had a fear of what life would be like without drugs. I couldn't imagine life without having some kind of mind altering substance in my body every single day. I remember going to on my way to rehab, and I'm in the car with my sister, and I asked her if we could stop so I could use a Starbucks bathroom. And when I got into that bathroom, Jay, I had no intentions on doing a number one or number two. All I really wanted was to get high one last time before rehab. I'm in that bathroom stall with a needle in my hand, and I'm ready to shoot cocaine and heroin into my arm. I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm risking my life. I'm not thinking about the fact that my sister might be stuck outside waiting in that bathroom because I died. I'm not thinking about the fact that my kids might never see their father again. Nah, all I'm thinking about is myself.
Yeah.
I'm fucking selfish. And I got all these fears running around inside my head. I got a fear of the withdrawals I'm going to go through because I didn't have opiates in my system anymore. I got a fear of going to a rehab for the first time, being open and vulnerable. I got a fear of life without drugs because it's the only life I knew for 15 years. And I became a shell of who I truly was. All these fears caused was self-doubt, worry, imposter syndrome, lack of direction. And, that's what it did. It caused all these character defects inside my body and inside my mind. Because at the end of the day, man, it ain't about the drugs and alcohol. It's about me. I was the fucking problem. You know what I mean? The drugs and alcohol, like I mentioned earlier, that was the easy part to let go. I had to learn to change, who I am. I had to really learn to change my thought patterns. I had to completely have a paradigm shift in order for me to come back and get sober. Without that, there's no way. Without changing up here, it wasn't going to happen, and it all was based up here. It was the story I was fucking telling myself, because the story we tell ourselves is the story that we create for our life. And that's the life we live. And I was living that fucked up life, that vicious cycle for years and years and years, because I was trying to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The fucking definition of insanity.
Insanity. That's crazy that we put ourselves through all that trauma, that continued trauma. Do you regret anything in the past?
I love that question, man. I love it.
Because I'll tell you my answer. There's one thing. I did 20 years in prison. I did 30 years as an active addict. They don't put nice people in prison. Let's just go there. So I was a very not nice person.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that I truly regret through all that is that I wasn't there for my kids when they needed me.
Yeah. 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 So I get asked this question a lot, and I don't have regrets. And let me elaborate on that, right? I mean, first of all, in the beginning, I had a shitload of fun. It was some of the best years of my life. It was fun until it wasn't fun anymore. And number two is I don't look at the past and have regret, because I actually say thank you to substance abuse for making me the man that I am today. Thank you to substance abuse for bringing me closer to God and giving me this incredible relationship that I have today with today. I mean, listen, man, I was born and raised Catholic, but I completely lost my way. I didn't even know what a relationship with God was. I thought it was saying Our Father, Hail Mary, and asking for forgiveness.
But going to confession once every few months.
Confession every few months between me and a fucking priest, where I got to talk to somebody else in order to have this connection that I have today, which I don't need nobody in between that. And I say thank you to substance abuse, because it gives me the platform that I have today to be able to give this back. So I say thank you to substance abuse for giving me the strength and character that I have today, for giving me the ability to be able to transform people's lives. Because without going through what I went through, I wouldn't be where I am today. My life would look completely different if I didn't go through what I went through. And thank God I don't look like what I went through, you know what I mean? But man, I feel like I was giving back an extra 20 fucking years of my life by getting sober. So no, fuck no, man. I don't have zero regrets for it. I mean, if I could go back and tell myself, my younger self 25 years ago, I tell them, don't ever give up on yourself. Don't ever give up on yourself.
That's a good one. I don't regret anything that I had to go through, because like you said, it brought me to where the place I am now. And what I do regret is the absenteeism with my kids. The only thing that I regret, they didn't have that male role model, growing up. So that's the only thing, the hurting people. I felt bad. I didn't feel bad at the time,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
the acts, whatever the being mean part, being a dickhead part, I can look back on and say, yeah, that was stupid. That put me in prison, or that did
Right.
this, or that did that. But I don't dwell too much in the past.
No, you shouldn't. You
Yeah,
shouldn't, because
because
when we dwelling on the past, it's just going to give you that draining catabolic energy.
yeah, the depression is the past. Anxiety is too much in the future. That's why I say, stay grounded in the present. Because
Yeah,
it's a gift.
absolutely. The present is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? So 100%, man. And and you listen, man. Your situation, as far as regret, is a little different because of the fact that you had prison and you weren't able to be there physically for your kids. So I mean,
Even when I was out of prison, in active addiction, I wasn't there present.
yeah.
So I was too wrapped up in myself and the friggin' the drugs.
Yeah, no, listen, I
So
hear you, man. I thank God that I'm blessed to have an incredible relationship with my kids. I was never an absent father, and I'm grateful for that. But I could have been more present, 100%, because of drugs and alcohol. It didn't allow me to be my true self, to who I am, and to be fully present. Even though I was there was moments where and shit. I mean, I was fucking nodding out, fucking just disaster.
because we unfortunately that's the thing about addicts is we will choose everything, the addiction over everything.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man. It'll eat you the fuck up, man, without a doubt. That addiction is not fucking. It's not pretty.
How
Um,
long did it take for you to start getting your feelings and your emotions and being able to regulate them, get all that power back in
I was
recovery?
gonna
How
say
long did that take?
the feelings and I was gonna say, before you said regular, I was gonna say those feelings and emotions came back the day the drugs were out of my system, but they were not regulated at all. I was out of fucking control, man.
They suck, don't they? Being able to feel shit again. That
Yeah,
I mean,
man, what
I'm
the fuck
grateful
is
for it
this? What am I
now, but
feeling here,
at the
right?
time, that shit sucks.
Yeah. It sure does, man. Um, I mean, it took years of practice, because repetition is the mother of skill, right? And it took practice and constant reps to learn how to regulate my emotions, because even not just like as far as like the crying shit, because my I was there was times right after I was crying like a bitch. I mean, my mom passed the year before I got sober. Me and my mom were super close, so I didn't learn how to grieve till after getting sober, right? And you know there was anger that I had built up too, that I had to learn how to control, and realize, until I could control my emotions and really learn how to regulate them, I'm not being a real man, because I'm not able to be fully present. I'm not able to be the best
Letting
version of
something
myself
else control
if
you still.
my emotions aren't controlled, and still live in that king baby syndrome.
You know, for me, my recovery it was a little bit different. The reason I got sober and in recovery was because I was married and she also suffered from addiction and depression, bouts of depression, manic depressive. I had to
Mm.
find her hanging in my closet. So,
You found
I
out?
had
I didn't hear that last part.
I found her hanging in my closet.
Holy shit! My condolences. That's rough, man.
So that really pissed me off. I will say I was angry at myself, at her, at God. I was angry at everything. And I was still in active addiction at the time.
Mm.
And that was my last day that I ever used. Well, the night before, I think, was the last day that I ever used. That was the
Right.
last because yeah, I could have easily forgot. I could blast myself off to the moon. I was part of that high speed chicken feed methamphetamine cruise. I could
Ooh.
easily blast myself off to the moon and not feel a damn thing.
Yeah.
And forget everything. And I would have had to stay on that moon basically to never remember anything again.
Yeah.
Or get clean and sober and in recovery.
Is that what your poison was? Methamphetamines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not only that, it was I think I got addicted to the game.
Yeah.
Because I could do without the drug, honestly, but it was the game. It was the power plays, everything involved in it, the logistics of everything, the making it, the selling it, the using it, all the processes of it.
I know.
That's the part I was addicted to.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that. I could definitely relate to that. I mean, I was just addicted. You're right. The whole shebang.
Yeah.
What got me? You know what I mean? Except for waiting for the deal, I hated that fucking.
Man, I was that dude, and I used to. I'll be there in 20 minutes. 4 hours later, I'll be there in 10 more minutes. I'm cruising down your block right now. You might get that shit sometime by nighttime. Shit.
It was fucking torture, man, waiting. I always had like 5 different ones on deck just for that reason.
And they call all at the same time, like within 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah, they all still had you fucking wait, man.
Yeah, every single one of them. One thing, even in my active addiction, if somebody told me, because I also collected, that's how I got started off in the whole business, is collecting stuff for other people. And the one thing that I did do throughout my entire addiction, if you said you were done with it, if you said you were done, I would make sure you were done. I would make sure you got cut off from everybody I knew, myself. I'd make sure you couldn't get it in that town if you said, Jay, I want to quit. And so I don't know if that's a redeeming factor of me or not. I don't think it is, but hey, if you're going to say you're done, I'm not going to help you. That was just me. I was just, I hate to say it sometimes, but drug addicts, dealers, anybody that deals in addiction and with people are probably some of the most generous people. They can be the most evil people. I'm not saying that they're all good. You've got terrible ones that will use you and take you for everything you're worth and leave you laying in the gutter afterwards.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, a lot of us are the most generous and caring individuals because we know what you're suffering, because we're suffering too.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. There's a lot, because you learn also the importance of being of service when you get sober.
Yeah.
And given this gift that we've been given back. So it's hard to be a person who gives back and wants to be of service, but you're not generous. It doesn't really go together, So yeah. I think that generosity gets built within when you start doing the work and the work that it takes to stay sober. And listen, whether you're part of a 12-step program or not, I think that giving back feeds the soul, especially when you're sober.
I'm a grateful recovering addict and child of God, so I believe in Celebrate Recovery because I do, celebrate recovery, because that is what really saved my life.
Yes, yeah, man. It's important.
It is, and for all those that are listening, that people that are in chats and whatever, what would you say to them if they're struggling right now?
Oh man! I don't want to sound like a broken record, but don't try to do it alone. You don't have to. Get help. Don't be afraid. Don't let the ego get in the way, man. The ego that shit'll destroy you. Ego stands for etch God out, man. Don't etch God out. Your higher source, whatever you want to call it, universe, infinite intelligence, whatever it is that you could connect with. But you don't have to do it alone. Latch on to number one, a higher source greater than yourself to help you get through this difficult time. and to help you overcome these struggles, but also lean into a network and get somebody out there, because you'll be so surprised how many people out there want to help if you're struggling. There's so many people out there, man. I mean, reach out to Jay, reach out to me, there's so many out there, so many people around the world that you could reach out to get the help you need. The excuse of I didn't have help is not an excuse at all, because there's unlimited amount of resources out there to get help from.
And how does somebody get a hold of you, Joe?
So you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn. I'm on all the platforms under With Joe Rivera. The website is withjoerivera.com as well. And yeah, man, you could always reach out to me, and there's no way that you can't get in contact with me.
And one last question. If you want anybody to take anything away from this conversation, what would that be?
Again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but believe in something greater than yourself. Yeah. Because that's my key to success in everything I do. It's a recipe for being able to take your life to the next level. And it's a simple recipe. It's just believe in something greater than yourself. God, the universe, the infinite intelligence. Believe in that. Believe in that's going to help you, take your life to the next level. Because, there's going to be fucking bumps in the road. Shit's going to get fucked up. But learning how to navigate through those bumps in the road is vital for your success. And the way you're going to do that is by believing something greater than yourself to help you navigate through those bumps in the road. And I also have a gift that I want to give away to your audience. If you DM me the word code, CODE, on Instagram, I'll send you over a free gift of my comeback code. In it, you're going to get the 10 laws of the comeback, raw, no BS. We're talking mindset rewires that pull you out of survival mode and back into leadership. You're going to get the 72-hour reset protocol. It's short, savage, and spiritual. This gets you edged back real quick. You're going to get the 6-minute audio drop of yours truly snapping you out of the fog whenever it comes up, because we all get into that fog. And you're going to get the self-sabotage expose sheet. It's the habits you've been sugarcoating, exposed with ruthless clarity so that you could kill them at the root. So,
and what's that code again?
Code is the word code, CODE, on Instagram.
All right. You heard him, Joe Rivera. If you want his program and the help from him, DM him on With Joe Rivera on Instagram, and DM the word code, CODE.
And it's the name of the gift is the comeback code. Goes with it. So the comeback is possible, yeah.
Hey, from the gutter to the freaking high rise, hey, we do come back, and our comeback's always greater than our freaking setback. I'll tell you that. The comeback story is always better than the setback story, and that's the truth.
Absolutely, man. We got to get you on my podcast, the Reforge Your Life Show with Joe Rivera. It's based off business leaders and entrepreneurs who've overcome adversity to create their own comeback story. So we got to get you on there, Jay.
Absolutely. I'll be on there. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Joe, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day and speaking with us today. And I really appreciate that. And I'm grateful for you, and I'm proud of you.
And I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful to be able to have shared this platform that you have here. And, man, I got to just tell you that I love what you're doing out there, man, because there's a big need for it. There's a lot of people out there who are struggling, and them having a platform like you're doing here with Rock and Recovery, man, is really helping people be able to see that they don't have to do this shit alone. They don't have to go through, the loneliness that comes with going through battling addiction, because there's shame involved. We don't want to be able to tell other people what we're going through. But you with doing what you're doing here at this platform is being able to help people realize that, man, you know what? I don't have to do this alone. There's another way. So keep doing it, brother. I love what you're doing out here, man.
I appreciate that immensely. And with that, keep rocking your recovery out there. I'm Jay. This is Joe. We love you. You're worth it, and you are enough. Just know that you are enough. You can do it too.
Yes, man. I love that. You sure are enough, man. Stay
Well,
productive, stay
on that,
purposeful, stay blessed.
we are gone.